Hey guys, this is going to be another video response to bionicdance on the same topic which I already made a video response in the past. I'm gonna show her video and gonna respond to her points.
So you ever have an argument with someone who's just determined to be a complete jackass? You know, the kind of person who can't actually win, so they decide to pull what I'm going to call the definitional straw man, where they take something that you say and they rework it until it means something that you don't actually mean, and then they refute you.
I find it kind of ironic how you speak out against using arguments that involve twisting around definitions to mean what you want them to mean, just in order to argue your point. When in this exact video you do the same thing which you speak out against, and your tendency to take a definition and twist it around to mean what you wanted it to mean, and then argue as if that is the true meaning of this definition, that has been pointed out to you several times in the past that you're doing this, and you acknowledged that you were doing this, and yet you still keep on arguing using the same arguments that have been pointed out to you in the past hold no water. The definitions that you argue with do not mean what you say they mean. I'm going to show this. Soon enough. Let's continue watching our video.
Well, I'm arguing with somebody on one of my older videos about whether or not babies are atheists. And he's trying to say that not something can't be something. Therefore, atheism can't just be not theism. It has to be, I'm not even sure what, I guess an anti-religion or something. Which it can be at times, but that's not really what it is. Atheists do often fight against religion. They often are anti-theists. But the state of atheism is simply not theism.
Here is exactly what I'm talking about. You take the word atheism and you twist the definition around to mean atheism, when in fact it has been pointed out to you, and you acknowledge the fact that atheism doesn't mean atheism, but atheism means without God, from the word atheos. You admitted this yourself in one of your videos that in response to the criticism you got over claiming that all babies are atheists, and you acknowledged the fact that the word atheist comes from the word atheos, without God, rather than atheist, a modern English word. Now, you're trying to compare atheism with asymmetry or apolitical or asexual, that kind of stuff. That doesn't work in this case. Atheism is a completely separate definition. It just so happens that there's an A at the beginning of the word atheist. It doesn't mean that it means atheist. Because basically, apolitical means that you don't take any political stance. It means nothing. It doesn't mean the opposite of something. Asymmetry means it doesn't have this type of symmetry or that type of symmetry, but rather that it has no symmetry at all. Asexual means that they don't have a certain sexual preference. They don't prefer males or females, but they don't prefer anything at all. Atheism, though, is the opposite stance from theism, which, using this analogy, comparing atheism to asymmetry, for example, it doesn't hold any water. Now, this thing has been pointed out to you before, and you keep on using the same argument, using definitions that you twisted around to mean what you want them to mean in order to argue your point, which is exactly what about 20 seconds ago you were arguing against.
You see, if something isn't something else, we often give it a designation. For example, not up is down, not open is closed, not brave is cowardly, and not symmetrical is asymmetrical. Well, not a theist is an atheist, not a theist.
Not up can be down, but it also can be sideways. There are various dimensions, not only up and down. It's not a binary system. The same goes with atheism and theism. If you're not a theist, it doesn't make you an atheist. If you're not a theist, you could still be a deist, a pantheist. You could be many other things, not only an atheist. If you're not a theist, you could still be agnostic, even though I don't want to get into this argument with you because you're going to argue that there's no such thing as agnostic, which you have been heavily criticized for in the past as well. And you could be a deist, such as Einstein was. He believed that the universe and God are synonymous in some way, or that if there is a God, then all he did was create the universe, and that's it. He doesn't exist anymore inside our universe. His influence doesn't reach inside our universe, so our universe is separate from God. He was not a theist. He was closer to an atheist than a theist, and he was a deist. But he did believe that there was a creator for the universe, but he doesn't fall in any category of theism. Deism is completely separate from theism. Theism is the specific belief that God not only created the universe, but is also actively influencing. His influence reaches inside our universe, that he interacts with people and so forth. Usually it's accompanied with some kind of doctrine, but it doesn't have to be. In any case, there are people who are deists who are not atheists or theists. People who are agnostic, who say that the whole atheism and theism debate is meaningless because nobody can know if there's a God or not. Therefore, both theism and they don't belong to either camp, atheism or theism. They think that both of these camps are just speaking gibberish and talking out of their ass because it's an unknown. And there are many other things it can be besides a theist. It's not a binary system, and you know it's not a binary system, but you keep arguing that it is because instead of making proper arguments, you like to twist around definitions and try to fight on a verbal battlefield, so to speak.
That's all it is. And how many gods do babies believe in when they're born? Are babies theists when they're born? No, they bloody well aren't. So they are atheists, not theists. It's that simple.
If atheists would actually be a definition that people accept, then you might be right. But in this case, it is not. Atheism doesn't mean atheism. And besides, what is a baby when he's born? Is he a theist or an atheist? He's neither. He's a baby. He didn't yet reach the point where he can make a conscious decision as to whether he believes in God or not. He was not presented with a proposition yet. An atheist must reject the proposition that there is a God. He must say that belief in a God is irrational. From either because there's a lack of evidence and he is simply not a theist, or he was just never taught to be a theist and he thinks the whole thing is bullshit. Either way, he must come by himself to one conclusion or the other in order to belong to a certain camp. If you try to say babies are atheists simply because they do not accept theism, well, first of all, they didn't accept atheism either. They didn't look at the evidence for God and say, I don't accept this evidence. If theism would be right, a baby would not necessarily be an atheist when he's born. He could be a theist that didn't discover his theism yet. And using this babies are atheists argument as a way to show that anything that doesn't belong to the definition of theism is therefore an atheist. The absurdity of this claim has been pointed out to you by me and many others, that you can extend this argument to mean that, I don't know, that cigarettes are atheists because they're not theists. The shit I took this morning was an atheist because it didn't accept God. It didn't believe in any gods. And this is completely retarded. If you I don't even understand why you're trying to argue that all babies are atheists. That doesn't speak well for atheism. That just means that everything is an atheist unless you're a theist. That's just retarded. That means that I'm the same atheist that my phone is. I am exactly the same because my phone doesn't accept a God and I don't accept a God. This makes the definition of atheism completely useless. It doesn't define anything in my position whatsoever. I don't even understand why you're trying to argue that all babies are atheists, as if that would mean something good, or a argument against theism somehow. Somehow that would like make a strong stance against theism. In fact, it makes the exact opposite. A theist could say, well, you're an atheist simply because you are not yet a theist, the same way that a dog is not yet a theist. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
And if you don't get that by now, then you're either a complete idiot or you're just being deliberately difficult.
I would like to extend the same thing to you. You have been told that atheism doesn't mean a theism. It means it comes from atheos. Yet you continue arguing over this atheism definition, which you invented. It doesn't exist. You made it up. And you have been told this, yet you keep arguing this. You're the one who's being unnecessarily difficult.